2021 is about your voice. Make your voice heard by starting your podcast today. We make it happen. Pretty Easy Podcasts makes podcasting pretty easy.
Aloha, I am June Jones of the Houston Roughnecks, and this is the XFL Show.
What the XFL is cooking.
Welcome, football fans. This is For the Love of Football. This is the road to 2022, and this is the XFL Show. I'm Alan.
And I'm Bryant.
And this isn't a show about nostalgia, and it isn't a Young Rock recap podcast, but we are going to talk about the 2001 XFL season today, and we're going to talk about Young Rock because it must be done, and we respect our lineage. This is episode 159. We're embracing our lineage today, Bryant.
Our lineage, our football heritage, whatever you want to call it, we're going back.
Oh, whoa, I didn't even notice all those.
And
I was
embarking.
getting ready for the show. Whoa.
Well, because you were doing a lot of other stuff, but we're embarking on a path to history.
Shh. Damn, that is beautiful. We could just talk about where Bryant got all that sweet
got more.
2001 XFL merch. Oh,
We'll throw that
I'm
Demons
glad
one
you
out of
left.
here, though.
Yeah, throw that Demons
throw that
one on the
Demons
ground. 724-565-4XFL is the XFL fan line for you to call if you want to text to. That you're welcome to do that. And you could talk about everything we're going to cover today and give us some reaction, give us some love. Leave those reviews on Apple Podcasts too. We appreciate those. But today's going to be a fun show. Bryant brought out all the nostalgic pennants. He's wearing the LA Extreme hat. We were at the championship game. We know something about respecting our lineage. Big theme on Young Rock this week, Bryant. So that's what it's all about today. But man, I'm excited. I'm excited for all the reactions we got to on some poll questions at XFL Show on Twitter this week too. That was good stuff. I mean, asking about the 2001 season, and it all stemmed from that He Hate Me conversation we had last week with the filing for He Hate Me apparel, apparently, by the new XFL ownership.
I'm still waiting for my He Hate Me sweatpants with the He Hate Me on the rear end, but we'll get to that at some other point in the show. We also went back to 2020 on Twitter this week, so make sure you check that out at XFL Show on Twitter. A lot of fun. We're having fun.
Absolutely. We're having fun, and it's easy to have fun when you don't have to worry about all the nonsense that might go into running a podcast. That's why we have Pretty Easy Podcasts to help us do that. You can get your podcast started today by going to www.prettyeasypodcasts.com. There it is. You could go get started, have some fun yourself. Maybe you want to do a Young Rock recap podcast. I'd listen to that. We don't have time to host that, Bryant, but did you watch it this week? It was pretty darn good for episode 2, and I'm excited to see the adventures of this Young Rock all the way till when he buys the XFL, hopefully in like season 3 or 4.
Oh, I mean, it's the best new show I've seen in a very long time. I will say that, and I'm not just trying to hashtag get my job back, but me and The Rock have a lot in common. The Rock is dating somebody named Kate, who has 2 friends named Kate. They all hang out in the same group. That was me in high school. I don't know if you remember that or not. It just wasn't Kate.
They were all. Was there a Bonnie though? Was the other?
It was a
the
Diana. They were all Dianas.
The odd girl out was
yeah.
Bonnie.
So
Yeah,
me and The Rock are basically the same person.
That was
You're
a
welcome.
good gag on Young Rock this week, and of course them thinking that he was a undercover cop, which I related to in high school because I had some teachers who thought I was like a Johnny Depp 21 Jump Street kind of fellow with my beard and mustache senior year. But good show. The owner of the XFL killing it on the NBC sitcom scene. He embraced his father, who was kind of had his own
wrestling out of college
personality. Some would say a little carny is the word they would use, but that's also what people would say about the 2001 XFL season, Bryant. But you know what? Just like Rocky Johnson was The Rock's dad, 2001 was an XFL season, and we got to embrace that. And we're going to dive into some of the stuff from that season that maybe we're missing in the 2020 season that could be brought back in 2022. And we'll get into all of that. We appreciate you also subscribing to the YouTube channel. We are going to play in a minute, actually, for everyone watching on YouTube, something that we released on Twitter this week at XFL Show. Never been seen before. Getting all kind of love for it. We knew people would have loved it 1 year ago, Bryant. That great documentary I put together about St. Louis Battlehawks fans. I am a bit of a documentarian, and I think I really proved myself 1 year ago, but unfortunately we couldn't release the thing. We got to yesterday, though, because we said, hell, let's release it. It was 1 year ago.
It was 1 year ago. We were at the tailgate, the most anticipated tailgate in XFL last season. And a lot of people think that that's just Alan doing a bunch of different cacaws at the same time. No, that was from the tailgate there. You'll hear it on this video we're going to show you pretty soon.
Found fan footage of cacawing was taken 1 year ago.
The B-roll and the clips going back were my favorite part, and that we have that. Maybe one day we'll even release those. One day.
Oh yeah, that's a lot of.
One day we're on Peacock ourselves. We'll
when we get our own when this is streaming live on Peacock and we don't we're coasting, then we'll maybe release that stuff. But
we're going to do a show. Nah, let's just release the tailgate footage this week instead.
This week. Maybe one day. Going back to last week, though, real quick, dink and dunk around what we talked about last week in some social media. Kev New on YouTube commented, Bryant, said definitely some guys from the fan-controlled football that can make it to the XFL next year. Quentin Flowers and Damon Sheehy Giuseppe are in the FCF, and Flowers being the front runner for MVP. Quentin Flowers, who was down in Tampa Bay with the Vipers, I believe. So yeah, super athletic quarterback. I watched him in the FCF this past week on some highlights, and he's definitely looking solid, looking fresh. But I don't know. The thing about that league is it is so arena football-y and so gimmicky that it's hard to translate anything except just, I guess, athleticism from a guy like Quentin Flowers. Like, hard to see like, oh, I'm a lineman in that league, and that's going to really tell scouts a whole lot. For the
unless
XFL.
You're pancaking the guy the entire time or blowing through the O-line as a D lineman.
But it's an awesome way for guys to keep their name out there and keep in shape and keep fresh and keep their arm and their legs going. And that's what Quentin Flowers is doing right now. So maybe, and yeah, he was already in the league. So that's definitely someone to keep a lookout for. We appreciate the comment there on YouTube from Kev New. And also, Bryant, last week we talked about some football Americano in Mexico, and you were like, there's a league down there? And I said, yeah. And now Trent Richardson, of all people, AAF's the Birmingham Irons, Trent Richardson.
Leading rushing touchdown getter in the AAF, Trent Richardson.
He's 50
touchdowns, 20 yards. Don't know how he did it.
Cadillos de Chihuahua of the Football Americano de Mexico League, the LFA, La Liga de Fútbol Americano Profesional, gets Trent Richardson. It's a good get for them. I'm hoping I can figure out a way to watch these games because I'm dying for some football. I sent you the link to their league, though, too, Bryant. That's a real league if you could check it out. And I like their website. It's got the calendario right there, standings.
This is what you might like.
Yeah, it's nice. Equipos.
This is what the Cadillos or Caudillos translates to. Do you know what this translates to?
Caudillos.
Warlords.
I'm going to say,
it's a badass name. That's a pretty
I was going to go through, the other team names they got are pretty good. They got the Dinos, or would they say the Dinos?
Dinos. So maybe it should have been Trent Richardson and those Dinos, but whatever.
And the Osos which is what I'm advocating for the name change of our high school in Burbank, California. John Burroughs going through a name change. I'm hoping they go to the Osos or the Spruce Gooses, but that's
Oso.
They're trying just Oso, but you got to pluralize Bears.
Well, maybe because the Burroughs, you already got that. I don't know. That's fine.
Well, that's a whole nother topic, but Trent Richardson, good luck to him south of the border, and good luck to us figuring out how to watch those games, Brian, because I'm all about it. That would be great. I have watched American football in Japan. That's been broadcast. I forget where I saw it. So this needs to be broadcast. It's football. Damn it, football should be year-round, and definitely in the springtime. Definitely should be on my television right now a little bit more than that FCF, which I'm still watching, but I feel like I still have a thirst to quench when it comes to some full-fledged football. And, of course, the XFL next year is going to do that, Bryant. But anything else here before we dive into a couple of big pieces of news in the cover two?
Well, we dunked. Let's move on.
Let's do it. Here we go. This week's cover
You
two.
want it? Down. I'm going to give it to you right now.
All right, so the previously unreleased Battle Dome documentary, I call it. Some would say it's just a montage of tailgating, but it's so much more than that, Bryant. It was a collection of the highlights from our time in St. Louis 1 year ago this week. We released it finally on Twitter, and now we're going to play it right now. World premiere on YouTube, if you're ready. Are we breaking rules by doing this? Probably. I don't know.
Hashtag we want our job backs. We're trying to show our portfolio, our range here. Look, we're not just podcasters. We're not just video podcasters. Alan's a documentarian, and I'm just kind of cool with the camera. And I can eat a pretty good Spam sandwich.
We are filmmakers and actors also. Are we in this at all? We might have cut us out.
We're behind the camera. Yeah, we're behind the camera.
We're behind the camera. But we were in front of it, I think, for some of it, but that hit the cutting room floor. Maybe next time.
This is about you, St. Louis. This is about you.
This is about St. Louis and the greatest weekend of XFL 2020. Here you go. Caca to all you Battlehawks fans.
I'm Danny Crump. I'm from St. Louis.
I'm Colin Crump. I'm from St. Louis. We're a football town, as you can see. Bright and early at not even 9 a.m. ready to go. 6:30 on the dot. The lot opened up. Woo! Caca!
Welcome to St. Louis.
My name's Alex Pellman. I'm from Millstead, Illinois, and we're just across the river. And St. Louis is a football town because, I mean, take a look around. It's 8. We got here at 7:30, and the parking lot was filling up already. NFL made a bad choice, and I'm glad the XFL's here. Let's go, Battlehawks!
Not only is St. Louis a good football town, we are a great sports town. Ready, guys? 1, 2, 3. Just wanted to get up and show my best spirit for the Battlehawks today. And it's going to be a battle, but we're going to win. We're going to be victorious. So show up, bring your spirit, and let's win today.
My name's Ethan. Happy football's back in St. Louis. Here's tailgate for the first game. Eat some chicken wings, get drunk. Cook off.
All right, I'm Rick Story from O'Fallon, Missouri. So excited to have football finally back in St. Louis. Got all these fine people here at our tailgate. Lots sold out. Hopefully we're going to have a heck of a party today.
St. Louis is a football town. It's plain and simple. Everybody thinks we're a baseball town, but no. Everybody thought we were a hockey town, but no. Stan Kroenke comes in, totally us and brings the Rams to California, and what are we going to do? You say don't say
It's all right.
Hey! Right? Rally behind any sport at all. Yeah.
We love getting up early on Sundays. Beers.
Cheers.
Woo! St. Louis. And take new heights to top. We take your flight. St. Louis. So high and take new heights to top.
There it is, the previously unreleased or released and then taken off the airwaves. Battlehawks weekend, debut weekend, documentary starring some of the best Battlehawks fans we met, Bryant, that weekend 1 year ago. Are we allowed to tell the story about why that was released and then taken
hashtag
down?
We want our jobs back. Maybe we should
Jobs
move
back,
on.
yeah,
But
right. It wasn't because of those guys cussing up a storm. We bleeped that out because we are responsible documentarians.
yes.
So that was not the issue.
Yeah. Well, either way, I think it was pretty evident of what the video was trying to do, and that is display how passionate those fans were. Kurt Hunziker had a tweet where he showed up at the stadium about 6:30, took a picture of people already in the parking lot. So we took a lap around that entire building, Alan. Remember, correct? And there was not a corner of the outer perimeter that wasn't filled with Battlehawks fans. So it was a pretty cool sight to see.
Yep, and everyone knows and everyone's heard the story how that Wildcats Battlehawks game was destined to be jam-packed to the rafters, like as if Rocky Johnson was going to be wrestling in the dome. It was going to be filled, but it never happened. But I am so thankful that first game happened, and we were able to be there. We were able to be outside the Battle Dome as well, talking to all those people, and we do have those great memories, and it is now etched in documentary form forever in 100 years. So caca to everybody, 1 year anniversary of that trip. And really,
I feel bad.
like
One
my
of those
last
guys, like, caca! Like, he was really
Oh, yeah,
struggling.
he was struggling, but
It's our
they
boy
were
Drew up
probably
there with
partying
some
from
friends.
like 4 a.m., eating Spam sandwiches and drinking takes a toll on you. But that was like the last big trip I think that I made before shutdowns. And
It was about 2
no
weeks
more
before
flying.
shutdown. I haven't been on a
Yeah.
plane since.
Nope. I've been driving down back and forth, Miami, Pittsburgh, and I miss St. Louis. I want to go back so bad. Maybe in 2022. All right, part 2 of the cover 2, though, here, Bryant, real quick. We don't like to dive into this too much as this ongoing saga litigation happens, but I literally only pulled out because of one little piece of a nugget from the latest in the Vince McMahon, Oliver Luck stuff. This week, the McMahon side's claiming that Oliver Luck shared XFL information with unauthorized individuals. And now they're saying that Oliver Luck repeatedly disclosed confidential XFL info to his brother-in-law, who is a prominent NFL agent. His name's William Wilson, and he's an agent for Wasserman Media Group. Remember that? We were talking about them last week. A new asset for Redbird Capital, and that's what stood out to me. But Oliver Luck is saying that this, he's fighting back against this. This is just the latest in how basically the McMahon side is trying to prove why they shouldn't be paying Oliver Luck what they owe him. We don't want to get into any of that, but I just found it interesting. There it is again. Is it fate? Is it a coincidence? Is it more than that? I don't think there's any conspiracy. That's probably a coincidence, but just Wasserman Media Group right there again, a big NFL agent name there 1 week. I just felt vindicated in talking about that last week, Brian.
You forgot to put on your aluminum helmet and start your conspiracy theories over there.
Oh,
Fred.
is
I
he
think
thinking
that's
the
where
whole
you're
time, I'm going to get The Rock to buy and Redbird Capital to buy it, and then they're going to get in with Wasserman and my brother-in-law, and then I'm going to become the Emperor Commissioner. No, that's not what's happening at all.
It's just a six degrees of separation, I guess you could just say. Whatever's happened with Oliver Luck and Vince McMahon, I pay attention to just because I'm interested in it. But I think as far as 2022 goes, not this or really anything that goes along with them matters unless something goes. The only thing I could think that would ever matter is if there was some stipulation that says Luck could never be affiliated with the XFL again for whatever reason. I'll pay you, but don't ever be affiliated with the XFL.
Is this the WWE now? All right, we'll settle this, but you can never be affiliated with the XFL ever again. You can never compete for the Intercontinental
Retired.
Championship. And you need to take on Randy Orton on SmackDown this Friday. Is that I don't know where we're going here.
I don't know.
Real
either,
quick,
but I just
bonus cover 2, though. I do want to flash back, if you want to, Bryant, to where we were on the road to kick off last year and the year before, just to do a quick heat check here as we're gearing up for 2022, if you're ready to hop into the old semi-truck.
Oh man, let's do it.
So
No,
tell
this
the
hand,
people
right
where
here.
we were at. Yes. Wait, that one. There we go.
Well, you don't have one. I have
Where
one.
were we? Oh, yeah. We
You're
don't
the
both
passenger.
have them on both sides?
I don't think that's how that works. Where were we on the road to 2020? Well, just to kind of flashback a little bit, last year in 2020, we were, like we said, at the Battle Dome. Great week. I think you and I were flying back at this point, whatever. I remember I was pumped because the Wildcats also beat the Defenders. And they mollywopped the Defenders
Yes.
up and down that field.
That was when we were eating those toasted ravs back
Toasted
at the hotel.
Ravs and that pizza with the weird cheese. What is that cheese? Ooh. Sorry, St. Louis. St. Louis! But in 2019, I think that's more importantly because that kind of simulates where we're at now. Well, the XFL is kind of ahead, Alan. I know you don't want me to say that, but they had 2 coaches announced. This week they had announced Pep Hamilton. Jim Zorn was on the horizon, was already rumored to be happening as well. And I think after that it was probably first president, my best friend Heather, was coming up along the way too. So I don't know where we are because we still don't have a kickoff date. If we kick off right after the Super Bowl next year, I guess we're technically behind because we have no coaches, we have no presidents, we have no commissioner, we have no CFO. We have the
Chief
Rock.
Football Officer. We have The Rock, we have Danny Garcia, and just a whole lot of waiting. But, again, like Bryant said, don't panic. That all might sound like, oh, whoa, they're way behind. They're kind of lagging on this road. But kickoff might not be the week after the Super Bowl. Kickoff might be in April, May. And that is a different road. That's a little bit more runway, but still something we, I think, might have to start hoping for pretty soon, Brian, if we don't get one of those announcements pretty soon.
Well, the thing you also got to think about is when, even though Bob Stoops and Pep Hamilton were hired at this point already 2 years ago, when did they actually start doing anything? There was no rule book. There was no players. They really didn't put their staffs together until later on in the season. So, I don't know. I mean, obviously they had an advantage for being already hired, but it's a trade-off. What were they really doing when there wasn't much to do?
Well, we right now know nothing's going on, at least on the surface, maybe behind the scenes, and there's just not as much transparency as those roads had, but nonetheless, on the road to 2022, we are. That was a quick flashback on the previous journeys we've had to XFL kickoff right here on this very show, because we were covering all of that. Still rocking and rolling and still talking CFL another week in a row. Bryant, real quick, want to let you know that the Alouettes in Montreal signed Renegades. It's not the CFL show, but we do talk XFL players. Cameron Artis Payne played for the Renegades, is now with the Alouettes. And also Coney Ely, who killed it on the defensive line for the Roughnecks in Houston, signed with the Argos, who are signing everybody in Toronto. And then some other news, not CFL news, but college football news. Trey Williams, friend of the show, has been on this show, played for the Wildcats, was a leader on the Wildcats at linebacker, is now going to coach linebackers for Gus Malzahn at UCF.
Yeah, a little, he was Malzahn was his coach in college, so it makes sense for him to make that move. Young guy, though, still, but I mean, if you're going to look at your future, do you want to go to a spring football league or do you want to go coach a couple years with your former head coach and try to make a living that way?
Awesome.
I think you got to take the coaching.
That's it. I mean, depends on who you are and where you are where you're at in your career, and totally support that. Trey Williams is great though in the XFL, and wish him luck at UCF with that new regime. Huge get for UCF. So there you go. This week's cover 2, and now we're gonna go to 2001. Another kind of a flashback, but not too far, not too nostalgic, because we're talking 2020 or 2001, but with a 2022 slant, because we want to take from 2001. It's so hard to go back and forth between 2000. I can't say 2022. That sounds ridiculous.
You can't say 2001 because that sounds ridiculous too.
So I got to bounce back and forth, but either way, 2001 counts in this week's Hot Read. So, Bryant, you tweeted at XFL Show for us a little poll question asking people after last week's He Hate Me conversation, the new apparel copyright taken by the new ownership. Do we want to see more 2001 stuff embraced by the new XFL in 2022? We got some responses, and it looks like I see on the screen there's the results. The majority, but not a whole lot, by a large margin, said stay away from 2001. But I am not for that. There's good stuff you could take from 2001, Bryant, and I think you're going to agree with me.
I do agree with you, and I think part of it, maybe there was a little confusion, right? Because we did say off the field. I think on the field, let's just kind of clear the air here. On the field, the XFL did a much better job 2020 than they did with 2001. Oh, yeah. And I don't think there's really anything on the field. I mean, unless they have a swinging, crane coming taking out punt catchers, maybe that's the only thing I would think they would want to bring back. But other than that, I just feel like the on-the-field stuff could be left alone. That's not what we're really talking about. The XFL 22 stayed away completely. I mean, completely. Other than the name.
2020. In 2020.
Excuse me, 2020 stayed away completely other than XFL. And so I feel like there's a middle ground, right? You don't want to be too extreme. You don't want to be the same. You definitely don't want to be completely different. So to me, I was like, hey, let's bring some of it back. Have you seen these reverse retro unis in the NHL?
Yes, as a Penguins fan, ours disturbed me a little, but they grew on me as they won in those unis. But yeah, reverse unis, the old school. I like that. Everyone loves a throwback jersey.
Exactly. And I think some people would agree that bringing some of that nostalgia back could be a good thing for the XFL in 2020.
I absolutely think so. And especially talking off the field, are we saying, have scantily clad cheerleaders in the locker room or professional wrestling announcers? No. Well, maybe Jesse the Body Ventura, but that's just me because I'm a big fan of the Body with instant replays. But that off the field stuff, I'm thinking promos at the 50-yard line, Bryant, which we got a little bit of in 2020, at least in the home openers. They would have coaches or players. I remember being in DC and seeing Cardale Jones thank everybody for coming at the 50-yard line. It was very modest, very brief.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. Go Sonic.
Go see Sonic the Hedgehog in theaters. In Tampa, we got a little bit more hype, I believe, with their home opener 50-yard line promo, but stuff like that. But also ex-players. 2001 was big in the personalities really endured. They've lasted. He Hate Me has endured. He made enough of an impact, Rod Smart, that people remembered it. It was in a documentary, and it was people's favorite thing from 2001. You have to honor that. You have to honor a great story like Tommy Maddox, who was the MVP of that league and went on to really redeem a lost NFL career and become a playoff caliber quarterback with the Pittsburgh Steelers right after his XFL MVP. And he got a Super Bowl ring behind Ben Roethlisberger, of course, but still. Tommy Gunn got a Super Bowl.
Just bagging groceries, basically. Come on.
And I mean, he's not Kurt Warner, not a Hall of Famer, but still one hell of a story that we should definitely talk about more often than we do. You got a guy like Jeff Brom, who's got a soundbite and an interview from his time in the XFL that's played all the time on sports radio and remembered by tons of people. And now he is one of the, well, at least a couple of years ago, highly coveted college football coaches, and a guy who's molding the future of football in college football. So you have to honor that. So that's one thing I think you bring from the off-the-field perspective from 2001. You honor that season. And then also 2001 definitely had, I think, in terms of explaining the rules, and I felt they needed to, with a little bit more pizzazz, a little bit more production. 2020 was straightforward, really throwing it on the screen with the ESPN and Fox graphics and having the announcers explain things. But in 2001, things were a little bit more produced up. I wouldn't mind seeing that in terms of getting the message out there on exactly how the rules work for the new XFL. But you have to, at least for 2001, honor those players, honor that season in some form or fashion, because 2001 counts, Bryant. It happened. I was there, man.
It happened. I was there the first game at the Coliseum, and I was there at the last game at the Coliseum. You really don't discredit my time that I spent supporting that league. And I think it's just more of a, where does the line stop? Where do you stop bringing in the 2001? I think people are always worried, right? The scrambles, the weird like punt rules with no fair catch. And if you kicked it behind after 25 yards, it was like a live play, and all those gimmicks can stay away. I don't think we're talking about any of that stuff. It's really just, I want to see why not during a Wildcats game you bring on as many extreme players as you can. A lot of them were LA based. Bring them in, line them up, and do a little congratulatory wave right there.
Yeah.
And now you're 2001 XFL champions.
And put Tommy Maddox in a ring of honor or something.
Yeah.
Something like that. Or
hang up that jersey, if number 8.
If you're playing in one of those cities, so say we have an LA team again, or we have an Orlando team, or we're playing in New York, throwback jerseys. Why not?
Yeah. Throwback jerseys, those reverse retros, that'd be pretty cool. Who knows what... I think the options are endless in that sense, right? You can do so many things. I don't think you want to do too much. But how would you not want to honor the Memphis Maniacs? Look at that. Look at that. Look how cool that is.
So good.
The Orlando Rage. I mean, come on.
Not as good as the Maniacs, but still good.
My favorite name is the Maniacs right here.
Or, if anything, if we're going to honor 2001 and we're going to have new team names in 2022 from 2020, let's add some more X's in there. I think we could all agree with that. Let's
it's a cool
bring
letter.
That back.
It's a cool letter.
It was the coolest letter. We got 3D Doritos back. I mean, come on, let's bring some 90s, early 2000s nostalgia back in. What's old is new again sometimes.
Bring the Rock,
but also,
our intro to the show, just have him play that at the beginning of the episode.
I think we could bank on, if anything comes back from 2001, it'll be The Rock cutting a promo on one of the XFL fields. I think we're locked in for that, I hope. I mean, I would bet on it. But who knows?
It's a fine line, I get it. Some people probably don't want it, but I think it's some serious opportunity, man. People enjoyed it. People liked it. People are going to remember the XFL even more so.
And like you said, we're not talking about bringing back the ridiculous on-the-field gimmicks, which were absolutely ridiculous and not even acceptable in some of those rules in modern football for how kind of reckless they are with the safety of players. And then, some of the other stuff was just very pro wrestling, or some would say carny. But that's not what we're asking for. There was great stuff in 2001 you can honor and even maybe implement. And I mean, hell, in terms of the production and the broadcasting of the game, that really has laid the groundwork already. It was being used in 2020, so we have to acknowledge that as well.
Yeah, I think there's a lot that the XFL stayed away from that they didn't have to, and I hope XFL 2022 2022, geez, that is hard, actually brings that all back. We'll see. Time will tell. Let's get some information. Who knows what's going to happen here in the next couple weeks. I personally hope that this show doesn't age well again, and that we get something tomorrow or Monday, whenever, that actually makes the show irrelevant. And I'm like, Alan, I know you're driving back home right now, but we need to record a show because something big just happened.
My last show down here for a while, down here in the South Florida studio, aka an accounting office, back up to home base in the frigid Berg next week, Bryant. And I'm going to be excited for a show that is either I'm going to predict, be about some crazy new news that comes out, or the latest episode of Young Rock.
Well, either way, we're not going to never mind. I never use the F word.
Back to work we go.
We will have a great show regardless. Alan, well, either way, make sure you catch us here every single Friday, right here on your favorite podcast app, Google Podcast, Apple, Stitcher, TuneIn, wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure you give us that
Leave those reviews. Leave those reviews.
And tell your friends about us. Also, if you got a question, comment, topic you want us to cover, well, text or call the XFL Fan Line, 724-5654-XFL. Standard text messaging rates do apply. You get to hear Alan's lovely voice, by the way, if you call that. He welcomes you to the XFL Fan Line.
Oh, I did the voicemail message on
you
that?
did the voicemail
I don't even remember
message.
that.
Yes, you did. Also, follow us on all social media platforms at XFL Show, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And also, hey, if you want to say hi to us, hello, you can come say hello to us on YouTube at youtube.com/This Is the XFL Show, the official YouTube page of This Is the XFL Show. And check out our sponsors. Don't forget, Pretty Easy Podcast. Go to prettyeasypodcast.com and get started today because they make podcasting pretty easy.
And should we put up our documentary on the YouTube channel as well? We'll have that up there eventually by itself, but check it out in this episode and, of course, on our Twitter at XFL Show. And again, 1 year ago, it feels so long ago, but also like yesterday at the same time. Screaming caca, eating toasted wraps, walking around St. Louis like we own the joint, Brian.
Oh, we had these amazing like hash brown balls too the day before at the I forget where it was that we went for that little like pregame party. We watched some who was that? I think it was the Vipers and the Roughnecks, maybe. I don't remember who it was. They were watching there. That was a lot of fun too. We had a great time that whole weekend.
And you can't sleep on the barbecue. We ate too. Ribs. Just had some great ribs too.
Great ribs. We went to a coffee shop. We were in shorts in the middle of St. Louis in February. Don't do that. I think we're in St. Charles. Ooh, man, it was a great weekend.
Damn it, that city better get another team. That's all I'm saying at the end of this episode. They deserve it. And they know how to support one.
Alan, let me ask you this, because it ain't on the rundown. I didn't mean to surprise you with it, but I did want to ask you something. Do you have any like feelings of like something that you might see in 2022? I got a crazy like gut feeling this week, and I don't know if you've had any. I feel like NBC is going to be the TV partner. It just lined up too perfectly in my brain for them not to be the new TV partner.
When you got Young Rock killing it, you got this Peacock network.
Peacock, they're getting rid of NBCSN. USA is probably going to start hitting the map with the sports. It just feels like NBC is going to be a part of this broadcasting package.
And they're going to need some really awesome content to make up for the
NHL
billions of. They're going to also need something to help hopefully make money, since they're going to be giving a lot of it to the NFL with these new TV deals. Mm-hmm. It makes a lot of sense. I mean, if we're wagering, it could be a full discussion coming up on a future show, but definitely I dig NBC in terms of a betting favorite. But
I think NBC, what the NHL had with NBC when they first came back is what I'm picturing in my brain.
Bryant had a vision this week. Maybe we'll dive deeper into that vision next week.
Maybe.
But for now, let's leave it at Bryant had a vision. Maybe he just saw a peacock. There's like a billion of them here too. So I've been seeing peacocks everywhere. No? Is it a sign? Thanks, everybody, for listening on your favorite podcast platform and, of course, watching us on YouTube. We'll be back next week, like Brian said, with another damn good show. For Brian, I'm Alan. This is the XFL Show. Remember, they're listening.